And we are on final approach to moon base apple. Yes, yes, it is August 10th, and this one's even soft a bit, but I did some pictures earlier. You know, the apple tree has apples. It's been a wet year, but so some of them are dropping, some of the leaves are having a little issue. Like this one, holy frig, it's like rotten up here. Get that crap out. Bye-bye. Dropping apples like crazy, not really lasting. It's been a very, on and off wet, kind of a cool summer. So, not sure what that's about. It's August 10th in the morning. I also wanted to show, my claims about you could leave a concrete block out and a tree would grow on it. Well, a little bit of leaky hose this year, and we've got serious moss growing on pavement. I mean, this is brand new pavement as of, 2 years ago? Friggin' A. What is that? The pollen collects and a little bit of dust, and suddenly you can have life forms growing on it with some moisture. Yeah, this is the north side of the house. But it's early in the morning, and higher latitudes in the summer, of course, the north side of the house can get some light. But yeah, that's part of it. And then, of course, the other piece is this stump, which is trying to, say, hey, I want to live, let me live. Because that's actually part of that. And then this is, some weed coming out of the dirt. I mean, look at this. It's literally something I tore out of the ground a while ago. Let me live. So this is the kind of place I live. And here's some of the hardwood I've torn out in the last year plus here, and then some logs I split up last year. For everybody who's like, oh, why do you take away the pine trees? There's no trees left. Wrong. I mean, look at this. Ridiculous. Now, it's at a stage where, let's see, those pine trees are not on my property. That one is, and then one next to it, that group is, so that's the east. North is this way, but, the sun kind of comes like this in the summer, and then in the winter, the sun kind of goes like that. Let's see here. This stand of trees back here, here's the shed, but when I bought this house, from the front of the shed, there were 6 pine trees here, another one further over there pointing towards the house. Between the houses, there was probably 8 giant pine trees. Fast forward 16 years after taking out those pine trees. Look at this. Nice cherry tree growing. We got these other nice trees. I planted that Japanese maple there. It's looking good. I mean, we were going to plant some sunflowers here. It didn't quite happen. Let's see, what do we got here? That's a maple tree that I just randomly planted from some weed maple. This is a silver maple, growing nice. We'll keep that going. This is the apple tree that replaced the apple tree that was kind of destroyed in the 2011 snowstorm in October. And without even planting, there's always something growing out of there. That's an old pine tree, and behind it is a maple tree that just keeps refusing to die. I rip it out as best I can. Something's left, it grows. So yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. This whole set of trees, there wasn't hardly anything on the front here. This particular one was a little tiny, one of those Arbor Day Foundation seedlings, like 2 feet tall. Well, it's pretty big now. I guess that's what 16 years does to a tree. I forget what type of tree that is. This is another Japanese maple. These things, they got stressed with the ice storm or snowstorm from 2011. Also an ice storm in 2008. Trying to make sure they're doing okay. This is another tree we planted, again, similar to that big bushy one there. This giant bushy one is probably good, close to 15 feet tall. This was some little scrawny thing that's growing up. Ash, maybe. This is a crab apple that came from just planting some crab apples into the ground. And here we go. I mean, it's kind of sickly. We get wet weather, mold, the leaves dry up and die. That's the crabapple it comes from. Okay, that's been there since, before we bought the house. And then that's the other apple tree in front of the house that had a bunch of branches broken off in 2011, but kept it going, and it still makes apples. This is the rhododendron bush. Note how there's this massive, trunk in here hiding. We keep cutting it back. It keeps growing. Kind of crazy. I have to keep it away from the house, keep the bugs away, right? There was another bush, another yew over here. We got rid of that and put in some nice sharp evergreen bushes, miscellaneous flowers that are a little past due at the moment. That's a tree that needs yanking out. We don't want a tree right there. But this yew, it's been around forever, probably since, I'm gonna guess, the 70s. I keep cutting it back so that it stops touching the house, and it keeps going and touching the house. Stop doing that, you're touching me. So anyway, that's a blue spruce we planted. Of course, it's in the shadiest region of the whole yard. Planted that 6-7 years ago. So it's kind of hiding in the shade, not doing too well. But yeah, I mean, we just have, I keep pulling trees out a little bit to thin it out. Once you get past the rock wall, that's not our property. Through there, cleared out. But yeah, if you look across at the shed, I mean, it was just a mountain of pine trees there, killing everything under it. Many years later, we got room behind it. The backhoe shelter behind the shed, that whole area was packed tight with scrappy wood and whatever. We got that all done. I got some topsoil, not topsoil, this is sort of subsoil. Yeah, wait, this is subsoil, right? Dumped this here in May. Look at this friggin' forest on it. I mean, it's hard not to grow things here. That's the best way I could put it. Even the crabgrass is like, yep, I'm all good here. So that's part of it. It's kind of low effort. Like, oh, I don't even have to throw grass seed down. The crabgrass will take care of it and be tough. If I want nice grass seed, yeah, I've done that in a few places. But back here behind the backhoe shed, we discovered after cutting out a bunch of the pine trees back here, this is a nice dogwood right here. So trying to keep that in good shape. It was smaller, it keeps getting bigger. That's cool. There's another one hiding somewhere in here. A lot of these pine trees, they get tall. And I mean, take a look at that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the frame. And they're thinning out. They're actually, the crowding of the roots and everything else. I've cleared a little bit down under here so you can walk through, but meanwhile the oaks and such, they're trying to grow. Elm trees. This is an elm tree over here. I believe this is an elm tree. Or is that some kind of cherry? Anyway, no, it's some kind of cherry. All right. Hickory. We get all kinds of fun things in here. But it's getting to the point where these pine trees are not looking so healthy. Look at how many branches are dead, and there's only just a little bit of the top left. This is unusual. When we first moved here, they were in kind of better shape. And, it's not because I, destroyed everything down here. I mean, we got lots of the forest. I mean, this one was cut down a while back. There's another tree cut down. Letting some of this stuff decompose, go back to the soil. That's cool. We hear woodpeckers pecking away at this. Like you see some of the holes and such. That's them doing their work. Back there's a horizontal tree. I did push that one over. It's amongst the many trees that I'm trying to open things up here. Let the smaller trees have their time. Get little bits of clearings once in a while in the woods. But, yeah, it's like, oh, I scraped it all down, and hey, look, there's a little tree there. Or is that poison ivy? Yeah, I think that's poison ivy. So that's the other piece. I gotta go and rip this crap out, because that'll have like a long root hiding between them. And that's always fun, trying to rip poison ivy out. But yeah, that's what happens when you rip a tree out. Of course, I have to go cut it up into sections and get that going. But again, you know, we got some hardwoods in between, like there, but then, you know, this one's doing okay. We removed, in this area, there was like another, let's see, there was one over here. Yeah, there's a pine tree over here that was like seriously rotted, and here and there. There's like 3 of them I got rid of. I mean, see how close things are? This is, this might be 12 feet here. Might. Seriously crowded trees. I'm thinking that didn't help the situation for a while, but who knows? We'll figure it out. Anyway, just a little bit of our woods and the work we're doing here. There was another tree here I got rid of, so it's a little bit more clear. And then I got this stack of pine logs over here. Keep thinking that, oh, maybe I should go, I don't know, get a chainsaw mill or something crazy like that. These are at least 8 feet long, some of them 10. You know, this is a smaller one. You know, you get to the larger ones. What am I going to do with it, right? And these are from a couple years earlier. I mean, look at how big this is, right? That's my foot, and then it's probably 12 plus inches across. 14, 16 maybe. That one there's probably 16 inches across. That's it, you know? Oh yeah, this is our maple tree that came from a seed in a planter from Belmont. So in Belmont, a seed fell into one of our planters back in 2000. We moved up here in 2001. Saw this growing out of the planter, planted it, boom. 16 years later, we got this going on. Yeah, I got some junk I got to clean up here. Been trying to do my best to neaten things up. The garden, of course, seen better days, but we did plant the tomatoes, which are, I mean, again, the rain and gray and everything else, having a little bit of a tough time. It's like the one tomato plant that's almost dead is the one producing fruit. That's pretty weird. Yeah, we got a couple others. Hopefully we'll get something, but let's see, it's August 10th. You know, by mid-September, frost will be coming, so hopefully we'll get something out of that. Oh yeah, and then the super duper lilac bush. You know, I mentioned there was a whole clump of 6 pine trees here. We got in the first week, cut those, and they all sort of landed on top of it, and we thought it was dead. Nope. Came back with a vengeance. Rah! I shall not be oppressed. And it's probably almost 10 feet tall. And it keeps spreading wider and wider, right? So you get these shoots out, which are, you know, pretty far out from the base, which is in there. So that's kind of neat, right? I wonder if I could ever kind of cut the root system and pull that out and spread it. My wife put netting on the blueberry bush, keep the birds away. Man, we got some good blueberries. That is looking good. So this is a plant planted a while ago. We finally got enough mulch under it, I think. Last year I had to water the heck out of it just to keep it alive because it was so dry. This year, none of that. It just grows. We did have more blueberry plants in here. These 2 died, so something else is growing in their place. That one's growing, but they haven't produced. I mean, these things we planted 8 years ago. This one was planted more recently, but it was larger to begin with, and it's doing fine. These other ones, they were Home Depot specials, definitely not worth it. Of course, another random tree just growing. It's like if I don't mow, trees grow. Oh, okay, here's another bush that doesn't have something wrapped around it. Now, there's clover here, but further back in through here is strawberries underneath the grass. And yeah, we got all kinds of fun things going on. And of course the swing set and the burning pile. Anyway, that's the story. Thanks for watching.